welcome to my channel. My name is Katie, previously Katie Carter, and now I am Kate Mowbray. So I wanted to come on here and just do a cozy little chit chat with you guys. I'm going to be talking a lot about myself. I'm going to be talking about my journey, where I'm at right now, chat a little bit about my life, where I started, changes that have happened in my life, in my health and wellness routine, what my goals are, what I want to focus on, and how, I got to this point. And I just want to say that right now I am probably just starting to feel like most like myself that I have in a really long time. And I feel like we all go through those phases where, you just feel a little bit lost, where, you don't really know what you're doing, what you want, and just in this like transition phase. But I think it's important to remember that growth requires change. It requires those feelings of being uncomfortable, and you need that transition phase where you feel lost before you can truly, start to feel like yourself again. And, even if right now, like I said, I'm feeling like I'm starting to really feel like myself again. And, I might get to a point again where I just start to lose that again. And I'm like, hey, now what? So it's kind of like you're constantly evolving. So even if, you're in a really good phase, don't expect that to be the phase that you're going to be in for the rest of your life, because you are always changing, life is always changing, people in your life, your environment is changing, relationships that you're in are going to be different. So it's just going to influence you and your journey, how you feel. And I think that's kind of why I feel like I've changed so much, is because my life has just like changed and evolved and grown, and now here I am. So this is a great video if you don't know who I am. Welcome. Good to meet you. If you have any questions, or if there's anything you want to know about me, or things that you don't know about me, feel free to ask. But if you aren't new here, this is the perfect opportunity for you to kind of just see where I'm at now, and kind of how I'm feeling now, and how I've gone through this like little transition phase. If you've been here since the start, thank you so much for following along with my journey. Thank you for your patience with me as I try and figure this all out. I hope that it's kind of realistic that I'm sharing this, because I hope that you can relate to it and understand that, feel a little bit less alone, knowing that, feel a little bit less alone knowing that, you're not the only one that feels lost, or, maybe feels stuck, or feels like you're in this change and transition phase, unsure of where to go, because I've been there so many times before, and I'm currently, just trying to get out of that transition phase right now. So if you're, in that lost phase, or you're in that start of, finding yourself again, then first of all, good for you. I'm so happy for you. And there are going to be days that are going to be hard. There are going to be days where it's so worth it, right? So I just want you to kind of keep holding on and keep doing you. So yeah, we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna start with kind of chatting about how I started my health and wellness journey, how I started, my brand, I guess, and my business, and then just like chat a little bit about, that period of the years between, and then these past couple of years, and where I'm at right now. This might be a little bit all over the place. I do have, some key points that I'm wanting to talk about, but I don't really have this planned at all. This is going to be me just like kind of word vomiting, brain vomiting, getting this out of my head. I feel like it's something that I've held inside for so long, and it's going to be really good for me to just get it out in the open, but also hopefully it's helpful for you as well, and you can kind of relate to this as well. So yeah, this is going to be just, me not planned, but me just like chatting. So Thank you so much for watching, and let's get into it. So I started my fitness journey about 6 years ago. I was in my last year of university. I had just turned, I think, 19, and that's when I really noticed how unhappy I was with myself, how uncomfortable I was in my skin. I had realized that I gained almost 50 pounds, and it was just like this big wake-up call for me because I was struggling so much with my mental health. I didn't enjoy doing anything anymore, things that, you know, used to bring me joy, used to make me feel good. I just didn't enjoy it anymore. And I knew that, you know, I had to make a change. And that's when I started, you know, working out. I started paying attention to my nutrition. Now, in the beginning, I had no idea what I was doing. I truly did not know what I was doing. I ended up just, you know, killing myself with cardio, and I was struggling for the longest time. Eventually, I got into lifting weights in the gym, building muscle. I wasn't in pain anymore. When I was doing cardio, I was like in so much pain. My shins, my ankles, my knees hurt so bad. So I knew I needed to, you know, strengthen my body, focus on muscle growth, getting my metabolism up to help with fat loss. I think it took about a year for me to lose, I would say, I lost almost all of the weight that I had gained, and I just kept going. So at this point, like I said, I was in university, so the only thing that I really did with my life, I didn't really, you know, hang out with a lot of friends or, you know, do anything. I wasn't working during the semester. I only worked during the summertime. So all I was doing was going to class, doing homework, studying, and going to the gym. I always went to the gym before my classes. So typically I would have like 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. classes, and I would go to the gym at, I think 7 was when I usually went to the gym. This was the perfect time for me because there weren't very many people there, nobody that I knew at the gym. So it started to become, you know, my safe space, my happy place, the place where I could just focus on myself and, you know, set goals for myself. I got really motivated and really disciplined with lifting heavy, with pushing myself to, you know, hit PRs and things like that. I loved it so much. And then I started sharing on my Instagram page, and so many people started reaching out to me, and I was in love with, you know, being able to share my journey, share, you know, the growth that I had made, the things that I was learning, the mistakes that I had made, and then have, you know, people reach out to me and ask for, you know, advice and support. It felt really good, something that I had never really felt before. I would say for the first, you know, 3, maybe 4 years, my life was just so focused on my health and my fitness and my nutrition because I built my business. I started my business in March 2020, so that was around 1.5 years after I started my journey. So I was just focused on, you know, my own journey myself for the first year and a bit. And then after people started reaching out to me consistently, I decided that I needed to kind of make something out of this. I was like, well, maybe I could help people. I want to make sure that, you know, I actually have a business and I'm actually certified before I do help people. So then after starting my business in 2020, then it was like, it wasn't just my journey anymore, but it was also helping others and building my business. So every time, you know, I went to the gym, it was still about me. I still had, you know, that good relationship with, you know, I was going to the gym because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed taking videos of myself and getting content that I was able to post on Instagram to help my business. So it was like a little bit of a mix between loving what I was doing and documenting my progress and my journey, as well as helping my business. So it was kind of like my personal life and my business life, they were just like together. And that's why it was so easy for me to stay disciplined and to focus on it, is because I loved it so much. And what I was doing in my work was also what I was doing in my personal life as well. So I think that's one thing, is when you do see, you know, fitness creators or online coaches out there posting content and posting, you know, their progress, their routine, it's hard to compare yourself to an online coach like myself, or a personal trainer, or just like a fitness content creator. It's hard to compare yourself to them, because their life literally revolves around health and fitness and that routine, whereas yours, I mean, maybe yours does as well, but yours might be like you work a 9-to-5 job where, you know, you're doing something completely different. Like, I own my own business. I have flexibility within my routine. I can go to the gym whenever I want. I mean, not whenever I want, obviously I have some structure in my days, but I have that flexibility. And I know a lot of you out there don't have that same flexibility. So make sure that you're not comparing yourself to me. And I think that that was when I really started to struggle with, you know, my journey and feeling lost and like just like not understanding what was wrong with me. Like, why can't I do this anymore? Like, why am I struggling so much? Is because I was comparing, you know, where I'm at now to where I was at in the beginning. Fitness, that was my life, that was my focus, that was my happy place. Whereas now I have so many other responsibilities, so many other things going on. I have a husband, we have a dog, we just spent the last year planning our wedding. But like at the beginning, like I had basically no responsibilities, no stressors. Whereas now I feel like I have millions, right? So it's just making sure that you're not comparing yourself where you are right now to where you were in the past or to somebody else. Because if you compared yourself to me when I first started my journey, I didn't really have anything else going on other than school. It was just so easy for me to achieve my goals and put all of my time and effort and attention into achieving my goals. Once I started my business, I ended up moving away from home. So I was living somewhere where I didn't have any friends. No friends at all. So again, like I moved away. I was done school, I graduated school, I was living on Vancouver Island, and I had nothing going on again. So other than building my business, which to be fair, it was a lot. I would have, you know, 12-hour days where I was just working from the morning until I went to bed. But part of me growing my business was going to the gym, was getting content in the gym, was tracking my food, experimenting with recipes, making progress, and that was my marketing, right? So it was a part of my life, and it was so easy for me to do that. And then eventually I would say I was struggling with my mental health for a while there. Throughout the past 6 years, you know, there are off and ons. I'm not saying that in those first like few years it was so easy. I had, you know, no stressors. I wasn't struggling at all. Like I did have my moments. I had my days. I had my weeks or months where I was struggling. But overall, like looking back, comparing, you know, where I am now to back then, like it was a lot easier for me back then, right? Because I had, you know, more time for it. Eventually, I met my husband, and he was also in the fitness space. So he worked in a gym, he was a kinesiology student. So he shared my passion and my love for fitness. So he was a support in my life, and part of, you know, something that we loved to do together was go to the gym together. So again, moving through the years, like it was always such a big part of my life and I loved it. He would challenge me, he would support me, encourage me. I would do the same for him. He would spot me, and it was amazing. And then eventually things started to get a little bit more stressful, and I think it was just because, you know, now we are living together, we have Winnie, we are thinking about, you know, family get-togethers, traveling to my hometown, traveling to his hometown. We're trying to think about, you know, our life, where do we want to live? We ended up moving to Vancouver from Vancouver Island because with Winnie, we weren't able to fly anywhere if we wanted to bring Winnie with us, which we always want to bring her. She's our baby. And the ferry ride from Vancouver Island to the mainland is 2 hours. You have to be there, you know, early. Sometimes you miss ferries and it adds on an extra hour or two. And it just like the travel up to my hometown, sometimes it took like 13 to 15 hours to drive there. So we're trying to kind of figure out our life. So there's like more stressors coming, more responsibilities, more things to think about. And then moving to Vancouver, I really struggled with my mental health in Vancouver. It wasn't good for me. I had a lot of anxiety there. I mean, I already had anxiety, but Vancouver, there's a lot going on, and I struggled to leave my house. I would say like going to the gym was a little bit harder just because of the commute and because it gave me so much anxiety. But I was still very consistent in the gym. It was still a very big part of my life. This phase of my life, when we were living in Vancouver, I was doing a lot of photo shoots for my business, for my website. I was actually working with a coach at the time. So it was still a big part of my life, even though I was struggling to, you know, get to the gym, to force myself to go to the gym and work out. I was still doing it consistently, but I feel like I had to put in more of an effort. It was getting harder. It was really getting harder because of our environment and where we were living. And then I started working with a coach because I needed that extra support, that extra accountability, because it was just, I knew I wasn't in a great place and I knew I needed that help to stay consistent. I was in the best shape of my life aesthetically. I wouldn't say, you know, on the inside or, you know, mentally, but physically I was, and I was doing, you know, photo shoots. I was, you know, feeling good, looking good. But then after this, I would say this is when I started to struggle. Things started to go a little bit downhill. I think I was just like so burnt out, and I had just finished a really amazing cutting phase with the coach that I was working with. I was so disciplined. I was so proud of my progress. And then after that, I did a reverse diet, which I do with all of my clients, and I was just tired, I think. So I was doing my reverse diet, and I think towards the end of my reverse diet, I wasn't as, you know, disciplined or as, you know, strict with my, you know, my macros, my calorie intake as I should have been. And I ended up gaining a little bit more weight than what I had hoped to gain. But I think I was having a hard time. I think the hardest part about achieving your goals and making incredible progress in the gym, doing a very successful cutting phase, and being very proud of your physical progress is just maintaining that. And then after that, like, you know, moving forward from that and comparing yourself to the progress that you made in the past or where you once were in the past. And I think that's a lot of my struggle is right now, like comparing myself to me when I was in my, you know, filming, you know, professional content in the gym, where I was lean, I was jacked, I was confident in my skin. And then, you know, comparing myself and like where I'm at now. And, you know, I'm still healthy. I feel like I am, you know, the happiest, healthiest, especially on the inside, that I've been in a long time. But aesthetically, that was like, you know, I was in my best shape at that point, right? So it's hard going from, you know, that change. So back when I was like very focused on, you know, aesthetics, I think the reason I was so focused on aesthetics is because I had made significant, you know, visible progress. My business kind of, you know, it hinged on my visible progress, my weight loss goals, and what I had achieved. So other people were reaching out to me, clients that I had been working with, their goals were fat loss and weight loss, and, you know, making aesthetic progress, visible progress. So because that's where I was at, right? But then I just felt this pressure that I had to continue to do that because if I wanted to, you know, maintain my client roster and continue to build this business, that was about, you know, building confidence, becoming, you know, the strongest version of yourself, and of course, you know, weight loss, aesthetics, hitting PRs in the gym, things like that. Like if I wanted to continue to market that or to, you know, get clients that I was able to coach with those specific goals, then I had to continue to have those same goals as well, and to do that. And I had to look good, and I had to, you know, train in the gym with that bodybuilding training style versus, you know, just training and working out because of wellness and overall health reasons. So it was very hard for me to make that transition because of my business, which is like really hard and really sad. It's hard because you're always going to compare yourself to how you looked before. Even if you're healthy over here, you might not look as healthy, even though you are just as or probably more healthy. But for somebody, and I'm not saying it's harder for me, but for somebody whose business rides on, you know, those physical, visible results, it's very easy to market looking a certain way because you can just take photos, take progress photos, show your progress. But when you're making more of these changes over here where it's more wellness focused, where it's more, you know, balanced, where it's more focusing on, you know, the nutrients that you're putting inside of your body so that you feel your best, and you focus on your hormone health and your mental health, like those are harder to show to, you know, consumers out there, especially in a short, very, you know, catchy reel or any type of content, right? So for me, it's like, I'm not just thinking about myself, I'm thinking about my life, my career, my income. Like it's been so stressful and so scary for me wanting to change my journey, change my lifestyle, change, you know, my approach to health and fitness because I'm scared of losing money, losing business. And like, this is my life, right? Like this is the only way that I make money is clients. So it's very hard, it's been very hard to make that change, not just because of, you know, internally, I just felt very lost because for years I was so focused on, you know, discipline, training hard, focusing on PRs, getting strong in the gym, that bodybuilding, trying to change my physique, whereas now it's like a big, honest, like 180 where I'm like, you know what, I mean, obviously I do care how I look, but I more so care how I feel. And I more so care about enjoying what I'm doing, and I would rather just, you know, do any kind of workout, any kind of exercise that I'm actually going to enjoy, rather than just doing something just because, you know, it might help me get the best visible results, right? Hi, Whitney. So yeah, that's kind of a reason why, or I would say that's part of why like things have been going at that point downhill, is just because I was like, incredibly burnt out. And then eventually we moved to Colona, and we were still working out. We found a gym here in Colona, but we didn't love it. There were rules on filming content in the gym as well, so that was like another stressor put on me. So for me, I was already kind of struggling to, you know, be consistent going to the gym for just myself, my own health, and then also struggling with my business and like not being able to get content to market my business and to make money, to make a living, right? So that's on top of it, like everything just got so exhausting. I was very overwhelmed. Eventually, you know, it was taking a toll on my mental health, obviously, but my physical health as well. I just, you know, I wasn't in the best shape of my life. I was getting exhausted with trying to stick to it and try to like get back to where I was. And I think that was like constantly in my head. I was like, hey, I need to try and get back to where I was. I need to get back. I need to get back. Like constantly comparing myself to the past, even though I just didn't have the energy. I didn't have the desire anymore because I was just so drained. I think burnt out running a business and also caring about myself physically, because they're like, you know, it's in the same field, is just, it just got to me. It got to be so hard. And eventually my consistency just like, I feel like then it completely stopped. Like I would have weeks where I didn't go to the gym at all. And like I was just kind of all over the place. I didn't really know what I wanted. I felt like I was mostly just doing everything because I felt like I had to. And I was working out because I had to get content. Like I didn't enjoy it. I didn't desire working out, but I was basically, you know, I felt like I was forcing myself to work out because I had to get content for my business, like, which is kind of sad. And I mean, I didn't obviously have to do a full workout. I could have just, you know, got content, but I'm not like that. I like to be as authentic as possible, and I'm not just going to film myself doing like a set of an exercise that I'm not even like working out. Like when I'm filming my content, it's actually me working out. It's actually me stretching. It's actually me doing whatever it is that I'm filming. I'm not just like filming it to get the content, right? So I felt like, you know, if I was working out, or like I felt like I needed to get content, so I was gonna work out so that I could get that content, even though I didn't feel like it, even though I didn't have that desire. So fast forward to where I'm at now. Like I said in the beginning, this is just like me, this is kind of my journey of like starting to you know, figure out and find myself and feel like I'm in a really good place. Obviously, you know, I might always feel like this. I might never just get to a point where I'm like, oh, I'm just like so happy with what I'm doing. Like I feel like you constantly want to be trying to grow. But I think part of the reason that I was really struggling so hard with my own fitness routine is because I was living my life outside of my business and my fitness routine for the first time in a while, or like it felt like it was the first time in a while, whereas like, you know, before I was still living my life, enjoying things, but fitness was still like the center of everything that I was doing. Whereas once we moved to Colona, we were just more focused on, you know, creating our life here and exploring it. This is where we want to live long term. So our focus was just, you know, living life together. And this was at the point where, you know, we were talking about getting married and in the future starting a family together. That was our conversation. So then we're like, okay, well, if you're gonna propose soon or whenever that is, like, then we need to think about planning a wedding. We need to think about what are we gonna do after that. Like, there was just a lot of exciting and happy things going on in our life that I loved, that I wanted to focus on. and me trying to be, you know, my most lean and, you know, visibly healthy, I would say, person was just not a priority of mine. Like, I just wanted to enjoy life with Josh, with Winnie. So that's when, you know, I was like in this very like confusing, lost phase. I was like, how am I supposed to continue on with my fitness journey when I don't enjoy training the way that I used to train, and I don't want to live my life with fitness being the center of my world? And it was really hard making that transition because of that comparison. It's hard for me to just, you know, ignore that and focus on where I'm at now, because it almost makes me feel like a failure. Like, why can't I still be as lean and strong as I was in the past? Like, why can't I be as disciplined as I was? And, you know, I'm just blaming myself and kind of like thinking of myself as a failure when I'm not, because I'm growing. And I think learning to actually enjoy life outside of fitness is actually the biggest win out there, and still being happy with yourself and still being healthy as well is the biggest win. I think flexibility, being able to live your life and enjoy your life while still being healthy, moving your body and working out in whatever way you want, plus nourishing your body, is, I would say, that's the biggest win. At the end of the day, like, your goal should be living your life, enjoying everything that you enjoy doing, moving your body in whatever way you enjoy, and then nourishing your body as best as you can while still enjoying the food that you're eating. Like, that's the goal. That's like the best goal ever. So that's kind of just been a hard transition, obviously. And I think with our wedding, so we got married July 5th. It's August 5th today, so we got married a month ago. And the year leading up to our wedding was like a big, stressful event. I was planning everything, and it was just like a lot. Especially for me, I'm very introverted, so like talking with, you know, my coordinator and different vendors and guests, like all these different people, all these different opinions, all these different ideas, and just like contact back and forth, like that in itself was very hard for me. So that was a big stressor, it took a big toll on me. I didn't really have much energy. I didn't have a lot of mental capacity at that point. So then like me trying to, you know, take care of my health and fitness was very hard. And I had originally like set the goal for myself, like, I just want to feel good. I do want to feel, you know, comfortable in my skin, but I don't want to set any crazy goals for myself, because I already know like how freaking exhausting planning this wedding is. So I don't want to also put the pressure on me to try and like, you know, change my physique or get back into the best shape of my life. So I just want to feel my best and, you know, eat healthy, move my body, stuff like that. But then it was like that constant battle of like the thoughts in my head of, oh, I need to do more, I need to be better, I need to look better for my wedding day. So it was just like really challenging mentally at that point. But, you know, I'm proud of myself for kind of staying true to just, you know, not trying to push myself too hard, even though it was still difficult for me to just accept that. And even looking back, like, yeah, I don't even want to go there, but yeah, then after our wedding, like, I'd say this last month has been the best month, because after all the wedding planning is done, like, there's no stress right now. So I'm able to like truly just, you know, accept where I'm at and be happy with it and enjoy life and just focus on moving my body in whatever way feels best for me, eating and nourishing my body because it makes me feel my best on the inside without it even like relating to how I look. because the wedding's over, it's like that's not even a thought in my head anymore. I'm like, hey, I no longer have this voice inside my head telling me that I need to be in the best shape of my life for the best day of my life. Like now it's like I have nothing and I can just truly be happy. So that's kind of why I wanted to make this a video, is like lately I've just been feeling very, you know, content, very happy, and I'm like, I want to just like talk about how, you know, and share that, you know, you can get to this point. It will happen. You just have to really do your best job to stay true to who you are on the inside. My training right now, my routine right now is actually focused more on core strength, stability, balance, and mobility. Like those are the most important things to me, because I've been so stressed for the past year with the wedding going on. Like I was experiencing a lot of inflammation. I was experiencing injuries, like a back injury, because I was so tense. I had so much inflammation in my lower back, so that my regular training style of, you know, lifting heavy, pushing myself hard was not working for me, because every time I tried, I would injure myself. And then I had realized, you know what, this is inflammation. This is stress. I am so stressed with the wedding coming up, with everything going on, that training hard, lifting heavy, trying to get stronger is not beneficial for me right now. So I really started to focus on getting a lot of steps in, going for walks, stretching, doing yoga. I would do morning yoga almost every day, and taking care of my body, focusing on stress reduction, stress management. And then after my wedding, I wanted to continue this. Like I was feeling a lot better. Now I would say like the past couple of weeks have been the best. No pain, because I have really been focusing on, I mean, I'm not stressed anymore, so inflammation in my body is a lot lower, but I've really been focusing on my mobility and stretching. And I've also started going to Pilates. If you follow me on Instagram, you have probably seen me sharing a lot of things about Pilates, and it's honestly helped so much with my overall like strength, and it's very low impact. I think that's the part that I love the most, is it's low impact, so you're still working on increasing your strength, stability, but because it's not very heavy weights, and it's more like repetition, it's more very slow movement, time under tension, that it's just been very good on my body, very easy, and I haven't had any flare-ups since. Now moving forward, I'm still going to do Pilates a couple times a week, because I find it's just very good for my body and I enjoy it. It's nice going to a class where somebody, you know, tells me what to do. I just follow along. I think that's why my clients love working with me in person so much, or even online, is just like, you know, having somebody tell you exactly what to do, you just follow it and do it. Versus, you know, making my own workouts. I used to love programming for myself back when I was in my disciplined, very into it phase, but now that I'm not as into it, I don't, you know, desire building my own workouts anymore. It's just, it's an extra stressor that I don't want to deal with. So going to Pilates, having an instructor just tell me what to do has been very enjoyable, but I'm still going to do my own workouts, probably at home or at Rec, which is the gym that I train my clients out of. But Josh just made us a home gym, so I have been using that gym. But that's kind of where I'm at, just doing whatever the heck I want to do. Now my nutrition is a whole other topic, something that I could definitely touch on a little bit. If you have any questions, please ask, and I could talk about that for hours as well. But I mainly just wanted to talk about, you know, my overall journey, and just how and why maybe my journey has changed over the past several years, like why it's changed, kind of what my focus is right now. And I did want to say that just like I am so proud of everything that I did before, my discipline and everything. I don't regret, you know, being as disciplined as I was and putting so much time and effort into my health and fitness and my physique. But I'm just at a different stage now, and it's okay. It's okay to change. It's okay to grow. And I am just, you know, proud of where I'm at now more than anything as well. I've learned so much over the years, and I think it's important to just accept that you are going to go through multiple different phases depending on where you're at in life. Where I was at before, you know, fitness being one of my main priorities, it made sense. It worked for me. I had the time, I had the energy. And when you just get a good stretch in here. But now it just doesn't make sense for me, and it's just a matter of, you know, being okay with it, accepting it, recognizing it, accepting it, and then moving forward and finding, you know, what I want to do now, what I want to focus on now. And I'm really happy with where I'm at. And I think, you know, the main lesson that I hope that you're able to get out of this video, or not necessarily lesson, but I just hope that, you know, you're able to understand that you're going to go through different phases, that, you know, when you're in different environments, when you're around certain people, when you have the energy for certain things, it's going to be a lot easier for you to be more disciplined in certain areas of your life. When you have other priorities, other, you know, things going on in your life that you want to focus on, it's okay that, you know, your journey changes a little bit. You just need to adapt. You need to be okay with it, and you need to make sure that you're not comparing yourself to others first and foremost, and also not comparing yourself to where you once were, you know, a different version of yourself, a past version of yourself when you had more time or things were different, right? So try to just focus on the present moment, where you're at now, what's most important to you now, and then focus on kind of where you want to go from here, where you want to move forward from here. I think that's the biggest thing. So where does this leave my business? Honestly, it doesn't change anything that much. I would say it's just more of like my marketing, you know, sharing my own journey and how I have got to where I am now, how I have, you know, gone from very, you know, disciplined training, aesthetics focused bodybuilding training to more of like a flexible approach where I'm focused more on wellness as my goal versus, you know, fitness. I want to continue to share that to hopefully help, you know, others relate to that. But also a big part of it is just helping my clients finding the best routine, health and wellness routine that is best for them, that'll help them achieve their goals, but be happy and enjoy life and just feel like they are living their best life and feeling their best as they're doing it. Like, I don't want to just help people, you know, feel their best and look their best and not think about anything else. Like, I want them to feel their best living their best life, because honestly, what's the point in achieving, you know, these crazy goals just to achieve the goals and then not enjoy life as you're achieving them, or once you get to your end goal, just like not being happy with where you're at in life. And I think just a big part of our wellness journeys aren't just about our fitness and our nutrition, it's about everything else in life as well. So I love to just include that in my client check-ins because I think it's so important. So yeah, just sharing obviously my experience, my knowledge, with everything that I've learned, the things that have helped me grow. I want to help all of my clients grow as well. So yeah, nothing's really changing. My content might be like a little bit different, a little bit more focused on my journey, wellness journey, things that I love, things that I enjoy. I just want to keep sharing, you know, my enjoyment for life as I'm living, you know, a healthy lifestyle where I am still, you know, taking care of my mental and physical health, but more importantly, I am loving my life, living my life, and just, you know, doing whatever I want. So if you do have any questions, feel free to send me a message or add a comment with your question. I think I will do like a health and wellness or fitness and nutrition Q&A on here one of these days, just answering questions that you have about health and fitness in general. If it's advice, if it's, you know, help with your own journey, or if it's just like a question in general, I would love to do a little Q&A like that where, you know, you ask questions, you ask for advice, and I sit here and do my best to give you the best advice that I can to my knowledge, obviously, and just, you know, try and give you that support that you might be needing as well. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much if you made it this far. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you so much. I'm so excited to start this journey with you.